St. Paul Academy and Summit School merged in the 1969-1970 school year. There wasn't enough room for all of the students on either campus. And so some teachers had to go back and forth between the two campuses. I did that a little bit. Some other math teachers did that until we got to the point where we figured out who should be on which campus. But that was before there was a middle school building. And so sometimes somebody would start their school day here and then run to the other campus, teach a class or two, and then come back in this direction. Not too far into the 1970s, they decided, that doesn't work. We need more space on this particular campus. And so they built the part that is now on the other side by the middle school. They built that building, which you now know as music and art, but downstairs was a cafeteria. That was not always music. Upstairs was always art. So that was the first move, and at the same time, they built the building where we're sitting now for math and science, and part of the library. Not the whole library the way it is now, but part of the library. I think that's okay. Where the business office up on the third floor, and the admissions office on the second floor, and where the faculty room and the Davern entrance are on the first floor, that used to be an auditorium. It was a really nice auditorium. It had very good acoustics. It was not very big. And so when we had senior speeches, you guys know about senior speeches, when we had senior speeches, they had to do them on a Friday in 2 shifts. The auditorium was very nice, but not very large. When they started to think about building a new middle school, they tore down that middle auditorium building, and that's why up until the Huss Center was built, all of the dramatic productions took place at the Goodrich campus in the Sarah Converse Auditorium, which is still a nice auditorium. This one over here is much nicer and much bigger, but there was a third one that you guys have never seen, and was right in the middle of the buildings called the upper school and the middle school now. And when they were making way for the middle school, they tore down that particular auditorium building and then built these administrative parts and then the middle school off in that direction. At the very same time that they put up the middle school, they built the dining hall. One time, the middle school and the upper school students went to school in the same building. There was the old main building. Middle school students were in this science and math end of things. They had to be because there was no middle school. And when it got to the point where the population of the school was so big that it didn't work anymore, then the middle school was built. But at one time, all of the middle and upper school students, and that time it was 7 through 12, kindergarten through 6th grade was at the other campus. 7 through 12 was in the old main building, the building that you now know as the art building, both floors there.
The art and music.
Art and music. And this building for the math and science, that was all that we had. There was no Huss Center. But you remember that off in that direction, there was a wing of the building, and that's where the history and the language people had their classes before they took that down last spring. Yeah.